to you, the regular Joes.
To movies and toys and TV shows, comics and collecting and superheroes. There's no end to the useless stuff they know. But don't call them geeks, they're just regular Joes.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
Guess what we're going to talk about today? TV shows. I'm looking back at my notes. Did we talk about TV shows last week? We did not. Did we talk about TV shows the week before? We did not. So it's been a long time. So we're going to talk about a couple TV shows. There will be, I am assuming there will be spoilers. We're going to talk about Penguin and we're going to talk about Agatha. So if you haven't seen them, see them. If you don't care, listen anyway. And we'll, I think we talked about the first episodes of them. Yeah. Or, no, maybe we talked about to watch the first episodes.
No,
I don't remember.
We'd seen the first episodes.
I think we did see the first episodes before we, so we're now coming back around now that both seasons have ended.
That was 11 weeks ago, so it seems like a long time ago, so.
It does seem like a long time ago. But we will see how we felt then and see how we feel now. It'll be fascinating. Trust me. Gotta do something. Let's go some random. Barry, what do you got?
So as a follow-up to last episode where we talked about the Disney Star Wars schedule, I think it is worth noting, as we speculated and kind of predicted, Disney has now removed the December 2026 movie from its schedule that was supposed to be the new Jedi Order Rey movie. But it's okay. They've replaced it with Ice Age 6. So we can go see Ice Age 6
because there's so much excitement for Ice Age 6 that they just felt the need to bump the Star Wars movie.
I think they said and I'm not sure if it was number 5, but a previous Ice Age made $400 million at the box office.
I'm sure that they do well.
Because
kids' movies at Christmas time, people take their kids to go see at Christmas. But
it's probably a smart move.
Well, I don't think they had a choice. I mean, based on what
we were
but
talking
I'm
saying I'm saying that slot is probably better served for them than with that than a movie that they would have to crank out in 2 years.
Oh, well, yeah. It would be nice. We had this sort of habit of Christmas with Star Wars movies, and now we don't have any movies.
Well, we've got Mandalorian and Grogu coming that May, but now instead of getting 2 movies that year, we're going to just get one. And honestly, if they put out 1 movie a year and they were good, that'd be fine. They don't need 2 and 3 movies.
That's plenty.
I think there's also people at Disney that remember the last time they put 2 Star Wars movies out 6 months apart. And I'm probably thinking that's not something they need to do again.
And they don't have one ready anyway. So
well, that's the thing. They announced this at Star Wars Celebration in London in 2023. Clearly they've got to stop doing that.
And yet they don't.
They should at least have had a script before they announced it.
I thought they were going into production soon, and that has not happened. They, like you said, they don't even have a script.
No, they fired the writers. They got new writers on it as of the last couple weeks.
It's a mess.
So no big shock there. But now I'm looking forward to Ice Age 6.
Yeah, there's that.
Have you seen? I've seen 1. I certainly haven't seen 2
I saw the
5.
first 1 or 2 when my kids were young. Ray Romano does a voice, if I remember correctly.
I've never seen one of those films, but I might need to start. So.
No, I don't think you do. It's nothing. It's not even. I think it's just lowest common denominator of things.
If they were smart, they would have a character in it named Ray or something, just as a goof.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's messy, but whatever. It is where we are. Todd, what do you got?
Okay. Over at Warner Brothers, There's a new Forbidden Planet film.
I had that on my list, and that is sacrilege.
It is.
That's a disgrace.
Is it a remake?
They are. Well, they don't.
No,
they're
say
developing a remake
of the 19. And I'll tell you, there's nothing that could possibly be wronger than this. I mean,
that's a perfect movie.
It's a
you
perfect
don't
movie,
remake that,
and it is perfect for the context of its times, where you can't revisit that movie without radically changing what it is, any more than you could do 2001. Okay, I mean, it just doesn't work. It works frozen in time. It's perfect as it is.
It is.
Leave it alone.
Such a. I don't know why they're doing it. It's so important to every other science fiction movie that came after it. It's not right.
I can't wait to see the designs for Roberta the robot, because you know they're going to change the sex of the robot or something.
Apparently, James Cameron attempted this at one point, and there was rights issues that he couldn't get sorted out.
It sounds like the rights have been sorted out now. Hey, if it's anything like 90% of the movies announced, maybe it won't get made. This will be the one that gets made, and it'll be a disgrace. You know what it's like? It's like remaking Planet of the Apes.
Or The Day the Earth Stood Still. Or all these other things that they've tried to make.
Although the thing was pretty good, but this is not. This is.
Well, lightning
this is
will
on
strike
a different level than all those
but,
movies.
But yeah, I mean, there's so many properties that we've had this conversation a million times. So many properties that are ripe for a reboot or a remake. That's not one of them.
That is not one of them at all.
No, it is the quintessential 1950s science fiction film, and it just needs to be left alone.
There's no Star Trek without that movie.
No, there's a lot of things without that movie. I mean, it's.
There may not be Star Wars without that movie either.
And you know what? What if people today don't want to watch it? It doesn't matter. Well,
you know them. They have properties. They all they want to make money. This scumbag who owns Warner Brothers Discovery is like, oh, now with Trump in office, we could go. The ability to merger will be much easier. You just keep merging until the whole industry's defunct.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm not bitter about anything.
What do you got, Dave?
Not the election, not the business, but yeah. Don't worry. The guy's going to put an ice cream man in as the chairman of the FCC or something. It's even stupider than that. But that's all good.
You have a topic, Dave?
I do have a topic. So I think we talked about them a couple of months ago, but the ruby slippers that were lost were found by the FBI. They are up for auction at Heritage. I don't know exactly when the auction. I think it's this month. I got an invitation through Heritage, because I get the catalogs, and there was a reception in New York to see the ruby slippers and the Wicked Witch of the West. Is that who she is?
Yes.
The pointy hat.
Yeah,
her hat
Witch of the West
was going to be on. And I've been to that Heritage for a couple different receptions. I just did not go tonight, so those things are both up for auction. I know bidding is open as of last week. The ruby slippers are up to like $800,000. I can't imagine those things don't go for $3 million plus.
You would think, given what things have been selling for, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't take a lot of notes or anything on the prop store auction that just ended this past weekend, but some things went for crazy amounts of money, but a lot of things either didn't sell or went lower than expected.
A lot unsold. And even like the old Hollywood, I think Wizard of Oz is not the same. Although there were Cleopatra stuff that did not sell. So I don't. My Wizard of Oz, the ruby slippers are the thing.
They're iconic,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we talked
I think
about
the hat's cooler.
We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I think when we had or maybe we talked about it in person when we were at Rhode Island. But the prices that were achieved for some of the Star Trek props in the last auction were unprecedented. And if you listen to the most recent props podcast, those guys were going off on how high they went, and seemingly they were speculating that it's people that don't really follow this stuff that closely and don't know what things have been selling for and just bidding because they've now driven the prices up beyond where those things have ever been before.
I didn't listen to the beginning of that. I tuned into the live. That's the one that was the live stream.
Yes.
I tuned into the live stream a little late.
If you listen to the first 15 or 20 minutes, Ryan goes off on that auction.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I asked them a question that they answered. I said something.
I listened to the podcast. I heard them mention your name at the end, towards the end. So,
and I don't remember what it was about.
I think you were talking about the Dread Pirate Roberts mask.
Oh, I was asking if he was going to bid on that because I know he says it's in his top 3 movies.
Yeah.
He did not bid on it. I think it went for $100,000. Is that right?
Something like that. Yeah.
It may have. It was a lot. Did you see? I know we're on a tangent, but Stormtrooper helmet sold. The armor did not sell.
The helmet sold. I did the math to convert it. It was $420,000, I believe.
That's a lot for a helmet.
Sure is. But that's a screen match to the scene helmet. They know exactly which helmet that is, which scene it's in. So,
and the armor is screen matched too, but it didn't sell.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of people that collect helmets more than full size. Full sets of armor.
Yeah, it's much easier.
So much easier to display, and it's
not
also,
everyone likes mannequins.
And there's
this is true. Not everybody likes.
There's no question what it is. Where you look at it, I mean, you see the full set of armor and you know what it is, but you get the same effect from the helmet.
Yeah.
So, but Dave Mandel bought the whole thing for what, $6 and change, helmet and
I think it was a little more than that.
Complete.
I think it was closer to 7 or 8. No, and it was under $1 million.
Okay,
for sure,
I don't remember. But that's, you're up more than that with this whole setup, but didn't sell. There's a lot of stuff that didn't sell. I went through the second chance offers. I shouldn't even say it on here, but there's a Rebel Trooper vest.
I did see that, yeah.
That I'm like, that could be the one Star Wars thing. It's not cheap, but it's not ridiculous.
And it's Star Wars. It's the first Star Wars, yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching live yesterday to see what that Death Star tile was going to sell for. Cause I was thinking
it went for six and change.
Yeah, I mean, with the conversion and all the fees, it was over $7,000. I think it was. So once you do all the buyer's premium and everything, it was going to be closer to like $8,000 or $9,000. So it was expensive.
Yeah. That's with the vest. I think you're going to be into it. US dollars, 7,000.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's cool. You're like, it definitely is something. It's different. And it's from Star Wars, but there were 100 of them.
And it's just, it's a vest.
Really
it's
seen
hard.
too
It's
many.
hard because it's a vest. How do you display it? Do you just display it in a frame? Do you put it over?
I would put it in a frame.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it, but
right.
It's still a lot. Does anyone else have anything else? What, I have something else?
So
I got.
I saw in a couple places.
Yeah.
I saw in a couple places that George R. Martin is teasing a new project with Maisie Williams. And then you read the article. Basically, they had pizza. And that's what it says.
It's just such nonsense out of these.
It's like
these clickbait articles.
It's like 3 stories that I'm so tired of. Is that like new project, but there's nothing like other than 2 people talking.
Yeah.
There's what didn't happen in a movie, and who wasn't in a movie. And it's like, you can make an article on any of these things, and people do like 5 times.
Or so-and-so is willing to go back to this franchise.
Absolutely.
No one's asking you. That T.J. Miller said he'd be in Deadpool.
The one that got me last week, I actually clicked on it, is Iron Man's star returning to MCU. And this was actually on a credible website. Okay? So, who was the Iron Man star who was returning to the MCU?
Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom?
No, of course not.
Oh.
Gwyneth Paltrow?
I don't know.
No. It's
Favreau directing Mandalorian?
It's what's his name, who played the Mandarin in the first in Iron Man 2, who's now going to be in, it was just like, that's what you consider Iron Man's star.
That's ridiculous.
It's just
But
like,
on the same
yeah.
note, so I read today, and I got all excited for a second, that Kevin Smith was doing a sequel to Dogma. And then I read the
Yeah,
article.
I saw that too.
So I read the article, and it was IGN, which is fairly reputable, said that he's working on a sequel and that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon were going to be reprising their roles. And then Kevin Smith posted a video today clarifying what he actually said, which was he's writing it in his head. He's thinking about it. He has not spoken to Matt Damon or Ben Affleck.
And it's
that
like
he has an idea of how to do it. And the fact is, the rights have been tied up for this movie for so long. It's not available on streaming. It's not available to buy on physical media because of the rights. And now that's been cleared up. So if he wanted to do it, he could. But my favorite part of the article, goes on to say, Dogma has been available, has not been available. Dogma rights were previously owned by convicted rapist Harvey Weinstein and his now estranged brother. Like, they couldn't just say, like, everybody knows the Harvey Weinstein, but they had to go convicted rapist Harvey Weinstein to drive the point home.
Call that guy out.
No, totally. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending Harvey Weinstein. I just thought it was
So you're
funny.
defending Harvey Weinstein.
You
That's
are.
fine
Come
if
on.
that's what
He's
you
my
need to
buddy.
do.
I love Harvey. He's the best.
it's like you had pizza with him recently, didn't you?
Yes. Me, Harvey, and Diddy.
George R. Martin and Maisie Williams were at the next table.
Yeah, they were. And they were talking about a show. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So apparently
It is nuts.
It
All
is.
those
There is
stories
no
are
Dogma
nuts.
sequel other than in Kevin Smith's head. But the fact that he had to post a video to clarify this article was pretty funny.
There is a Happy Gilmore sequel coming.
Yes, they're filming it.
Does anyone really need that? It's going to be on Netflix.
Well, he's got the deal
I
with
don't think
Netflix.
that
They
at all.
pay him a boatload of money to make
Yeah.
movies, and some of them are
So
okay.
we might as well make a Happy Gilmore sequel.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of people no Carl Weathers, no Bob Barker. Who else?
Is what's her name going to be in it? Julie.
I don't think you can top the Bob Barker scene, so I don't think you have to go back there anyways. So
Yeah, true.
no.
Julie Bowen.
Julie Bowen. Is she in it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That would
We'll
make
see.
me tune in if she was.
So real quick, I wanted to talk about The Diplomat. Have we all finished The Diplomat?
We finished
Yes.
The Diplomat.
Okay, I just finished it. I was shocked to see it was only 6 episodes. So
It was 6
Google's
episodes
ridic-
the first time.
It's ridiculous.
No, it was 8 episodes
Way
the
too
first
few.
time. I
Oh, it
Googled
was?
it. It was, and I Googled it, and the showrunner said that she wanted to do 8 episodes, but she didn't think that they would have enough time. This thing's on Netflix. It's not like you're beholden to a network broadcast schedule. Why couldn't they delay it a couple
was
months?
Probably shooting schedules for everybody involved is probably what it was. But
I
still,
felt
but
like
6
they
is-
rushed
6 is
this
too few.
season, and they if it had been 8 episodes, it would have maybe made a little more sense. Not that it didn't make sense, but it all felt very crammed together and rushed.
It was a little rushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like they could have let it breathe a little more.
I like that show, and I
totally
hope they
agree.
do more of it. But it's got to be more than 6.
Well, they are. There is a season 3,
6 episodes was too short.
but 6 is stupid.
Yeah, we watched it in like 2
just,
nights. It's like done.
Yeah, and there's
I don't know what more they could have done with this storyline, though. I honestly think if this was the storyline, I think trying to stretch this into 8 episodes would have belabored it.
I don't think so. I think if it had breathed a little bit more and they maybe had done a little bit more explanation, it was a little hard to follow at points.
even Kerry Russell said it's hard for her to follow.
Yeah, but she's also not
quick.
shooting in sequence and stuff either. So
Yeah, but I agree. It's a little like they could have done something. I don't know what. Maybe add in a tiny, 2 episode other storyline or something.
Or another
and that would have been
subplot
a thing.
or
You would have
something.
had some kind of other crisis or diversion or something like that. Did you see it going the way it went with the? I mean, no, I'm not talking about the thing at the very end. I'm not talking about the last 5 minutes. I'm saying with the
That was crazy.
the pivot where it was.
I did not.
I thought
I thought that was
Well,
so. Basically, the episode 5 to episode 6, the end of episode 5. I thought that was really well done because they tap danced around it. I couldn't think of who it was because it was obviously someone. They did this brilliantly because it wasn't anyone we knew, but it was somebody that once they introduced them, they had significance. Because if all of a sudden they said, oh, it's the Assistant Secretary of State, or it's this, or it's that, you're like, well, yeah, we've never met that character.
It was a little convenient that it was tied up into this whole thing that is basically the whole reason for the show.
But what I'm saying is you can't, like, it's classic kind of whodunit thing. You can't say, it was the butler, when you've never met the butler before.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So putting that on hold, then introducing a character and spending a bunch of time with a character, and then the disclosure was a really interesting way of doing it. And I think it was very clever because, like I said, I was cycling through everybody we'd been introduced to previously, and they kind of pulled a fast one. I thought it was clever writing.
Well, I thought it was at that point, I thought it was a non-issue. I thought it didn't matter who else was involved until they sort of brought it back, which was clever too.
Yeah, but he obviously was sitting on something. I also really liked how they tied everything in geopolitically. How when she basically did the lesson for the ambassador.
that was clever.
Yeah, that was well done.
And basically said this is your playing field. This is our playing. This is my playing field. Stay in your lane. And she was right. She was absolutely right. What she did was wrong, but she was absolutely right about that.
No, I thought it was all really well done. I think if it had a little bit more air and maybe given it another episode or two,
I would have liked a couple more weeks of it. Yeah. I'm with you because it's like you sort of get invested. I'm like, okay, this is going to be one of my Monday shows or whenever you watch it, and all you got is 6 weeks of it. It's not enough. Totally not.
I think you don't have to over puff a story like I said, I think they did a good job laying it out, and it does seem fast, but it was crisis pace, and I also think there's some really good characters in there. So I definitely want to see more, but it's time to change the storyline a little bit, and obviously they're going to. So because shit hit the fan in the end of that episode.
Yeah, it sure did.
So, yeah. And I got to say, I do not know why these two actors, the two principal actors, don't get like a ton of nominations for this show, because it's a little over the top, but it's also they're just fantastic. So,
who's fantastic? Fanboy Collectibles, and not letting you stop me. A Hot Toys Bat Missile.
Yes.
What was that from the second one?
That's the second. Yeah, that's Batman Returns.
So I guess it's the car that's sort of part of the car. So that's a whole 1/6 scale Bat Missile. I can go with the Batman I got.
I think you need that. I think you both need that.
I don't have the space. But someone else should get it. Totally get it. But there's Sideshow and Hot Toys aplenty, and Pops and Kotobukiya and Hasbro. Everything you need. It's the holiday season, whether you're ready for it or not. Christmas is in how many weeks? I'm looking. Wait a second.
5 weeks?
Am I? Is it in 5 weeks?
I think it's in 5 weeks.
I didn't even realize that. It's in 5 weeks. Whether you sell all the other stuff are around there too. We're multi-denominational over here, but. That's crazy. Christmas is in 5 weeks.
And they've got great stuff in stock, and they've got great stuff on pre-order. There's nothing wrong with pre-ordering something and printing it out and putting it in an envelope and giving that as a gift, because then when it finally arrives, the person gets an extra special treat.
That's right.
Iron Studios Star Wars statue. Check that out.
Yep, very cool.
Yeah.
Hey, if we can go back to the Bat Missiles for just a second. If you have passed on the 89 Batmobile, and you passed on the tumbler because you didn't have the display case, this is very shelf friendly. Okay,
it's a lot thinner.
It's by far the narrowest Bat vehicle that you're ever going to find, and if you're thinking space, there's a certain efficiency here that may just work out for you.
So check that out. Check out their whole bunch of everything they got at fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut, and tell them the Regular Joe sent you. Okay. I guess let's go Penguin. Spoilers, blah, blah, blah. It's finished. It's been over for more than a week.
Yep.
You'll figure it out if you haven't watched it. I think, for me, I sort of dreaded watching this and Agatha. I felt like they were going to be very labor intensive to watch, but I was happily, surprised that I did enjoy. I enjoyed both of them, but we're talking about Penguin. So, and I just rewatched The Batman. That Penguin character is a different character than what's on the show. I feel like they sort of tweaked him a little bit.
Well,
in the movie,
he's very thinly drawn in the show, in the movie, and he's very much, very, very different in the series. So, but
Which
they
is
have room to
interesting.
develop him, and that was the whole point. So,
but they made him. You got the sense, and they even said it. He's whatever his name is, Carmine Falcone's right-hand man. In the show, he was not Carmine Falcone's right-hand man. I don't think.
I think he had what he had and I think that's part of the reaction. Part of this is where he was coming from, is his status was being Carmine Falcone's right-hand man. And once Carmine Falcone was out of the picture, his status was purely there by virtue of being
and
his
this
guy.
was how he became his right-hand man.
Right. Because if you go back to the first episode, okay, he's trying to maintain his position, and as soon as the son, he's got the conversation with the son, and the son pretty much says, you were my dad's guy, you're not my guy. And
I
so,
guess so. That makes sense.
So this is his trying to scramble his way back up to a position that he only attained by betraying Sophia. Okay? So, he had gone from being a driver to being his right-hand man by that betrayal. And
I guess that's true. I haven't seen the movie since we saw it the first time.
Yeah, I
Barry,
have not seen
again?
it since you and I saw it in the theater together, Dave.
Yeah.
We've actually had more time with Oswald Cobb than we have with Bruce Wayne now. That's really interesting. So,
well, and I know when we
but
talked
it was
about
good.
the first episode, I said that I was really, really pleasantly surprised by how much I liked it. And honestly, it became my most anticipated show every week. I
likewise.
Freaking loved this show.
I did too.
It could have existed in or out of the Batman universe, and I think it would have still worked.
And
that's what's so funny. Like, where was Batman in all of this? I mean,
Okay.
I know you're not going to see him, but he exists in this.
He doesn't get
But he's
involved in
not
the drug
all-knowing.
trade
He's not
and the
Superman.
mob.
He's
war.
not all-knowing, all-seeing, and this is the kind of underbelly stuff that he's dealing with street crime. He's dealing with all these other things, and this is the kind of stuff that then now Penguin, Cobb is going to rise to his attention again. And
it's funny how, spoilers, you see the bat signal up at the top.
So that was great because it's just like, he's still here. This is just all.
So this is going to lead. And I think there was a note that, is it Matt Reeves? He put out that this leads into the second Batman movie.
Yeah.
It does not lead into the second season of Penguin.
No, and it shouldn't. It's like, I think this story
They haven't
is
even
told.
said that there will be a second season of Penguin. For all we know, it was one and done.
No, he didn't.
I
in
don't
his
think
note.
I kind of hope there isn't. I hate when we get a second season of something because it was popular and not because it needs to exist. And I think this is perfect on its own. I think the juxtaposition of these two characters versus each other made this show work. Okay, the third character, the Vic character, I think was also pivotal to this. I think with all the people in different directions and moved off the board, the only way to make this work again is to try to force people back together that shouldn't be. I think this is great.
Yeah, I agree
exactly
with you.
where
I
they
hope it's a one and done.
Yeah, they don't need it. I mean, I guess we can assume the Penguin will be the or a main villain in the second movie.
I think that they said he has like 6 pivotal scenes in the Batman movie, so I don't think he's the main villain.
Yeah, I think
Did they film that yet, or
it's in production right now?
yeah?
So I think the whole point is we now know so much about who this character is. He's so established; they can use him any way they want. So, it's yeah.
Colin
the character
Farrell
himself
and Kristen, is it Milotti? Is that how you pronounce her last name?
Yeah.
The two of them, if they don't get nominated for awards,
oh my God, it's just
insane.
like how does he not?
Well, he alone. I mean, that is. And if you watch the makeup thing,
it's insane.
What he went through. The video, it's crazy. And you're watching it in HD, super close up of his face, and it's amazing
moving with
makeup.
him, and everything is. It's like, and this is I gotta say with this thing. It's almost flawless when you go through with this case. So this is, we go back to the like classic Tony Soprano thing where you are repulsed by what this guy does, but they make him into a sympathetic character in so many ways and then pull that back from you. Okay. That anything that you could have felt for this guy, any time and effort that you put in mentally thinking, oh, well, this was justified. No, this was an accident. Oh, this is not what he intended. He's just, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, this guy.
And they did it multiple times through the show, though. The episode where, and spoiler alert, the episode where he kills his brothers, like
right,
that was midway through. They basically remind you, don't forget, this guy's a horrible person, and then they do it again at the end.
But okay, they do that in such a way though that it's not clear that his intent was to kill them. His intent, they make it ambiguous enough that his intent was to sideline them, okay, and punish them for, teasing him and whatever.
He knew, after a while, he knew what was going to happen, and
you got it in the second episode. He wanted to kill them.
I don't believe they made it clear that it was his intent that they that they die in there, but he kept that secret from his mother all those years, and at the same time, his mother knew. And his mother had this festering hatred for him for all these. The dynamics were brilliant. I mean, it was just
almost had him killed. Almost as a child, almost had him killed.
Yeah.
But that whole sequence where you saw the look on his face, and he knew his brothers were trapped down there, and he was watching a movie with his mom, and that was what he wanted. He wanted her all to himself.
Absolutely.
And he knew,
and that's where I said
he could have left them down there for hours and then gone back to get them, but he left them. He knew they were going to die.
I don't necessarily know that he knew that chamber was going to flood. I don't necessarily know that that's true, but I think that was ambiguous.
He didn't go back in the morning to look for him.
No, he did not. He did not.
He didn't.
So
at all.
There's no question. This is a pretty seriously messed up dude, and everything right down the line, just goes back to that. But they still managed to make him a sympathetic character in a number of different ways. And like I said, I think it's brilliantly well done. Also, her character. Okay, now this is a person who was probably driven to psychosis by the circumstances she was thrust into. She was just horrible. I love that, whenever she had something that was slightly revealing on, you would see the scars that were on her. So her scars were physical as well as mental, okay, from the abuse that she suffered. And again, both of these characters in the entire thing are acting in ways that you felt were genuine for exactly who they were and what they went through, or what they, the circumstances.
She was a rich girl with a
in.
bad attitude. She wasn't a crazy serial killer, but she
serial killer
turned into one. Yeah,
and the convenient thing for her father, who had killed her mother, the easiest thing was just get rid of her.
Yeah, once she figured it out, it was easier to have her sidelined and out of the way in a place where.
Yeah,
she wasn't dead, but he knew she was not ever coming back.
Right,
until she did,
until she did. Yeah,
yeah.
It's yeah. Again,
I loved this show, and you mentioned Vic.
Yeah,
poor Vic. I just felt so bad for him at the end.
I didn't. Did it? No one.
I
did
didn't
anyone
see that coming? I really thought it was going to go on for him to be his right hand guy. But it makes perfect sense once you see it.
As soon as I saw that scene, I went back to when that scene didn't happen in the parking lot right after, and I said to myself, oh, this is it. You know, the point where he thinks he's going to kill him and he doesn't. And I was like, oh, this is it, isn't it? And I think that when he said, you know, we're family now, and it's like, and I'm like, he's either killed or destroyed everyone close to him. You know, that's not a connection that you want to make, you know, whereas Vic's lost everyone close to him. Oswald has destroyed everyone close to him.
Yeah.
And you know, it's yeah, like I said, I just, this kind of blew me away. I was so,
me too.
I was like, yeah, I'll watch it. Yeah, it's going to be, and you know, as usual, Barry, it was the thing I was looking most forward to. And you know, there's different in the comics. There's different interpretations of that Sophia character. She was in the Gotham series, played by a different actress, done a completely different way. This was awesome. You know, they took this minor, like, fourth tier character and just went to town with her, and you couldn't have done this show without that. You know, that the cross between the two. It literally was the Beauty and the Beast, and you know, just so good.
And I don't know if this is out of the comics or not, but the other thing I really liked, which is a minor point, but they made the name Penguin derogatory, and like he didn't like it.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't like
he did not like it.
Every time I've ever seen the Penguin in any other material, it's always like he owned that name. And he didn't like it in this.
Originally, yes. And then same thing with the 1966 version. And again, he started out as like kind of like a comic relief novelty villain. And Burgess Meredith kind of played into that with the gimmick, the umbrella gimmick thing and that thing. And then they went with Danny DeVito, they went the grotesque aspect.
Yeah.
Okay. Then to Gotham, they made him kind of character
with penguins, and even when he was grotesque.
Oh, he did. No, oh, absolutely.
He
yes,
owned
no.
the identity.
But he was
of
also
penguin.
physically disfigured. You know, he had flippers instead of hands.
That was like a horror version.
That's
of
what I'm saying.
Batman.
In Gotham, they pivoted where Penguin was again. They pivoted back to, you know, being a kind of sad character that you could have sympathy for, but who had ambition and was very, very ruthless, but also had that kind of disability and had that penguin-like walk, and that's where the waddle kind of thing, and that's where the name came from. This draws on all of those things in some ways, but makes it its own thing. Every other, well, at least since the 70s, they've kind of gone into the Penguin as mobster thing, but the different incarnations haven't always been that way. And I think this is just, you know, they just keep reimagining these characters, and I think this is a great direction. You know, he's not the, at one point he's somebody you might ridicule, but you kind of do it at your own peril. So, you know, and again, like you said, that just the name Penguin is meant to be derogatory. You know, it's because of the, you know, the deformed leg, and that he's, you know, kind of waddling behind. But
no, they did a good job with it. I mean, they certainly created the atmosphere, and there's a lot put into that. You know, Gotham. Jesus, Gotham is always just a disaster. In all the last bunch of movies, even those, you know, Batman versus. Gotham's just a hellhole.
But that's the thing. That's why, you know, it's Gotham versus Metropolis. It's Batman versus Superman. It's like they you know, it's the dark and the light, and the streets are meant to be dirty and cramped with a lot of overhead trains and just a lot of places where crime takes place. And
you got some of that in Batman Begins.
Yep.
And then, you know, the other ones, there's just a whole atmospheric thing. But
you don't need a Batman for some place that's not like this. And likewise,
exactly.
you know, the Waynes could walk safely from the theater back to their car in a place that's not like this. So, yeah. Again, I like I said, I was was blown away by this. I think this is one of my favorite things I've seen this year, if not my favorite thing I've seen this year, and it exceeded expectations more than anything that I've seen for a long time. So,
What, you mean you like this better than The Acolyte?
yes, yeah, Barry,
Yeah. Okay. I'm just keeping
okay.
score. All good.
yeah.
Let us know what you think. I think the people we know have really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So then we go to Agatha, which I guess wrapped up a couple weeks more than 2 weeks ago. So again, this was another thing. I'm like, oh boy, I don't want to have to watch this. Let's watch the first episode. I'm not saying it was great, but I enjoyed it. It wasn't like The Acolyte.
It held my interest
didn't
all
go
the way
off
to the end, which was good. I
Yeah.
didn't love it as much as I...
It didn't go off the rails.
Yeah, I didn't love it as
was
much
fine.
as I loved Penguin. It wasn't as surprising to me as Penguin was, but it was enjoyable.
But it kept my interest. It was I was happily surprised because I was really, some of these series we have not been we have not been treated to gems with all these series, and I didn't see her purpose in getting a series, but I enjoyed it. I thought I was happy to watch it every week.
It's an interesting, kind of comparison with the Penguin because again we've got this person who's done despicable things, and you can't just hate her. So they had to make her in some ways sympathetic. We saw the things with the son, we saw the different shifting kind of perspectives on who she was and her relations with other people. She killed a lot of witches. That was kind of her thing.
And stole their powers.
And yet,
Yeah.
And yet, even in this thing, there were the witches. Spoilers: witches in her coven died, and was it her fault? Was it not her fault? I don't know. It was, but
she was not a trustworthy person.
She was not good, but yet you didn't necessarily hate her.
No.
I thought she was really good in the role too. I mean, she was good in the WandaVision show, but she held this show together. I thought she did a good job.
She did. I also think they did a really good job with the cast. I think that was an interesting, very different ensemble, and I think they used the others pretty well.
It was a good move to take the head of London Station CIA person and make her a witch.
Yeah, and make her a witch. And also Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, that was a little like, who's she, what's she, and she was not good either.
She may be worse than Agatha.
Too. It was like, I mean, really the good characters in this were
killed.
The other witches in the coven were the other with decent people. Felt like.
Well, no, I'm saying the Jennifer, who was the kind of care products person, who was and then the as you said, the chief of station, CIA station, who was
and then Patti LuPone, who didn't make it.
Didn't make it. Yeah. The mom from that 70s show who didn't make it.
Yeah.
I will say that probably the biggest surprise for me is that this was how they got Wanda's kids back into reality. And
yeah, that was an interesting thing.
That was done in the comics differently, and this in some ways kind of works better, having someone who dies and his soul ends up in that person's body.
But we only saw one. I can't imagine there's going to be a season 2 of this.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think there'll be a season 2 of this, but I think we're going to see that character again, and I think we're going to see him find his brother again.
They keep talking Young Avengers. I mean, but it's nothing on the slate for Young Avengers. They haven't mentioned it at all.
Yeah. So,
but I guess he could be one of the Young Avengers.
He would be, his character Wiccan is one of the Young Avengers, as is his brother. And then, you get
there's also
Hawkeye's
2 big team-up movies coming, and they could sprinkle them into any one of those movies too.
I read Yeah, I read some article where Kate Bishop's supposed to be the head of the young. She is the oldest of the young Avengers, I guess.
Yeah, but if they don't make that movie soon, she's not going to. I mean, that actress is going to age out of being a young Avenger.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love her in that role,
young
but
Avengers.
you can't wait another 10 years to make that movie.
Yeah.
True, but yeah, it was good. I mean, there's all kinds of things about bringing Wanda back. I don't know how you make someone so bad and then bring them back, but who knows?
You hope that everybody forgot about Multiverse of Madness and you just bring her back.
Madness,
I mean, I guess you could do that. It'll piss some people off, but everybody likes her.
That's just
so.
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I think.
Okay, so if you were going to bet right now, today, are we ever going to see her in a Marvel film as Scarlet Witch again?
You think she'd be somebody else?
No, I'm just saying. Well, hey,
they're talking about it.
I think it's possible. I think she could show up.
I think she's going to be back, and I think
too.
I think the Vision series is going to open the door for that. So,
unless you bring her in from another universe, but that's just cheap.
No, they're not going to do that. I actually think
you get to play that card like once. They can't play it multiple times for multiple characters.
She killed a lot of people, though.
She
didn't
did.
She? I mean,
but I think William is going to be part of what they used to bring her back. That's what I think. So,
I don't know. They got other problems to solve.
Yeah,
they got this
no question.
Robert Downey Jr. disaster. They got to make happen the right way.
If she comes back, do you think she'll have the thicker accent or the lesser accent? Because her accent fluctuated quite a bit from movie to movie.
I think both. I think both, and that's kind of consistent too.
I really like her in that role, so I'm not making fun. But I did recently rewatched Age of Ultron, and I'm like, oh wow, Scarlet Witch's accent was really thick in that movie.
Well, she was around Americans for a long time, and her accent sort of.
I will also.
I'm fine with that.
And this is, I've gotten arguments with people that really like that character, who think that character was really screwed over, and I keep going back to this. If you watch those films sequentially, if you just pick out the films with her appearance and you watch them, and then you go through WandaVision, and then you go to there is nothing unexpected that happens here. Okay, her grip on reality is tenacious at best, right down the line, and it's
they shouldn't have done any of it. She was a good character.
Well, but from the way they use this character from day one, and from what she suffered and lived through from the time she was introduced, right down the line, from being manipulated to losing her brother, okay, to being ostracized for the mistakes she made, to the fact that they explain that the reason that she hung out with the Vision was because part of her powers just repulse people. Okay, instinctively, there's something that creates fear in people around her. It makes absolute perfect sense that this is where she would end up.
If she hadn't gone a little crazy, we wouldn't have got her in those hot outfits.
And this is true.
Yeah.
So, and that too. So, anyways, like I said, I don't have a problem with that, but I think there's a redemption arc there somewhere.
It could be, but we'll see. They got a lot of things to fix.
Yep.
They got big bads they need to get. They got to fix the ant. They got no one on the board is really in good shape at this point. Right? I mean,
well, we've got
Thor.
The next movie coming out is going to
for sure
be very telling.
It could make or break
really
this freaking thing. And there's all kinds of. They're talking reshoots. I saw an article that said, I don't know who the guy directed. His name is. The Captain America Brave New World director was not fired.
Yeah.
Like,
we didn't
people
know
were saying he was fired?
Yeah. When did they say he was?
Yeah.
So no, there was stories saying that he was fired,
but
it sounds a lot like Rogue One. Like, no, Gareth Edwards did actually film most of the movie. No, he was sidelined at one point. He recently came forward and said, I was there for everything. I was involved in everything, because I think he didn't want to speak up at the time. But I think he's finally comfortable talking about it. But anyway.
But if you really think of the state of the Marvel MCU, you got Guardians are fine, but their arc is
scattered.
Done.
Yep.
And they're scattered.
Yeah, but Tony dead, Cap old or dead, Thor just a disgrace in the last movie. Who else is out there?
Hawkeye. Hawkeye and Hulk.
Hawkeye, I think, is in a good spot, but are they going to do anything with him?
Is Jeremy Renner even capable of doing it?
I think he's kind of
I know.
I think he's kind
but
of...
it's messy right now. It's really messy.
I saw something
go
about
back and
they're making a third Black Panther movie?
With Denzel Washington? Like,
maybe? They're courting him to be in it?
Not interested.
I guess we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. Okay, let's go what's in the box.
Show you with the box. Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Regular Joe's What's in the Box.
Todd, what's in the box?
Okay. So, I just got a...
Now hold it up, please, a little more. Oh, okay.
Okay. So I get this very heavy book. It's 693 pages. It is the Marvel July 1963 Omnibus. Okay? So this is every comic book printed by Marvel. There were 19 of them for the month of July 1963. Something else awesome came out in July of 1963. I'm trying to think of what that was.
Todd.
Oh, it was me, as a matter of fact, yes. So the month that I came into being, Avengers 1 was released, X-Men 1 was released, and then a bunch of other things, many of which are not at all interesting. But it just was very, very cool that they put this compendium together, and because it was my birth month, I bought it. So
is that something new? Like, is that the first one they've done, and it just happened to be your birth month?
So there's 19 comics released that month. Okay,
19. It's only the month of July 1963.
Right. Yes.
And that's 600 pages.
It's 696 pages.
Oh,
okay. Now,
I guess that makes sense.
Several of them are annuals. Okay. So of the 19 titles, how many are superhero titles?
I don't know.
Take a guess.
Half. 10.
It's 9.
13.
What do you think the others are?
Huh.
Well, not a lot of people were introduced yet, right?
Actually, they had pretty much everybody on the board at that point. So this is the interesting thing to me. So 3 of them were Westerns. There are no Western comics at all anymore. 3 of them were Westerns.
Geez.
One was a war comic, Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. 6 of them were romance titles.
Really?
Wow.
Yes. 2 different Patsy Walker books.
I knew there were, but romance comics?
Yep. 2 different Patsy Walker books. Patsy Walker, who, was in the character was in Jessica Jones, and of course in the comics later went on to be Hellcat. Modeling with Millie, Patsy Walker, Patsy and Hetty, the Patsy and Hetty Annual, Millie, Kathy, and I think there's one other here. But anyways,
who was buying that stuff? Girls?
Apparently somebody, but yeah. So I just found that really, really interesting, and so over at least a significant part of this I will never read. I've kind of perused through those. They're very Archie Comics looking, that kind of art style and stuff.
That's what I would figure.
And that was what it was at the time. But they're also unlike Archie Comics, these are all very, very teenage girl driven. They're like pages of like paper doll cutout things where you've got the body and then you can cut out the clothing and pick the hairstyle and all that kind of stuff. So it was very, very marketed at girls' market.
It's kind of cool.
So completely different time. So.
How successful were they back then at marketing towards girls? Did they sell?
They were. I don't know. Well, they stopped at some point.
Yeah.
As did most of the Western titles. So
that's
those
interesting.
Characters still exist, but yeah, again, just a look into a different time, and but again, like I said, the big things were that the Avengers and the X-Men launched at that same exact moment in time. So.
Cool.
Dave, what do you got?
Okay. I have 2 long-awaited items from the Propstar auction in August. And me and Propstar have made amends, but they took way
Squeaky
too long
wheel
to
gets
ship
the
stuff
grease
to me.
here, right?
Yeah, I didn't even say anything bad, but I did post on the Movie Props Facebook, and they watch, and they immediately shipped them out to me. So, I won 2 things way back then. I just got them... When did I get them? I think last Tuesday
When we
or
recorded
Wednesday?
last week, the
So-
box was in the background. You hadn't opened it yet.
Oh, that's right. So I got them Monday. I hadn't opened them. There was a lot going on last week. The first one is, and I don't know if you guys even know, this is, does anyone recognize that? I'm going to put a picture in the chat.
I know you told me
what
what this
that
was,
is.
but I'm drawing a blank.
I know, and you forgot probably.
Yeah, I
we're
did, 'cause
looking at a silver pistol with 3 holes through the
Because
grip.
it was August when you told me. It's November now.
I know, right? I did. So, here's the chat. So here's what it is. It's from a franchise. I don't know. There we go. So it's a silver space-looking gun. I don't know if you guys have seen the picture
Oh,
yet.
now I remember.
Oh, really?
Yes. Say it, Dave.
It's from the 2nd season of Buck Rogers. This is a gun Buck Rogers used, at least in the opening episode of the 2nd season of Buck
So
Rogers.
it's not the standard Buck Rogers gun. It's like a...
It's like a smaller one he carries. So it's made out of urethane, hard urethane, painted silver, and it's got this lucite rod in it. So that's the first thing.
When you're holding it up and showing it to us, it looks like it's made of aluminum. It really does.
Oh,
Yeah, it
really?
does,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's just the lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. And I'm glad I found that picture of him holding it. So I got to work on a display for that. Second thing is I won 2 things. I've wanted a Tom Cruise item. And
You own a Tom Cruise item.
I do? What?
Don't you have a sword from The Last Samurai?
But that's not one
I
that
do,
Tom
but it's
Cruise
not his.
held.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not
Well,
his
it was
sword,
Tom
but
Cruise
I-
adjacent.
Yeah.
Yes. But this is a stunt shotgun that he used in Edge of Tomorrow.
Really?
So
Which is a movie we all
in
love.
the end of the movie we all love, a person we all love, some more than others. So it's in the end when they're in the Louvre, it's only in for like 2 minutes. Emily Blunt gives him this shotgun, and he shoots a couple of things with it, and then he loses it. But so this is a hard rubber. It's a Benelli Supernova shotgun with the back cut off, and I don't know, it's hard in this lighting. It's all painted to have rust and everything in it. So, and in the cat, this was attributed to, he's the only one who used it, to Major Cage, Tom Cruise, stunt, Benelli shotgun.
And look at how he lights up when he
That's
holds
my
Tom Cruise's shotgun, Todd.
It does.
He's got a
So
certain
my-
glow about him
so-
right now.
There have been several of these sold over the years. This was by far the least expensive one at auction. So I got a good deal on this thing. So I'm happy. It's going to go right there over the door.
That's cool.
There we
Oh.
It's
go.
a good
Yeah,
spot
okay.
for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's pretty cool. I mean, the casting is amazing. Even like, you can't even see. And I'll put pictures up. Even like sort of all the
Yeah.
fine print in this.
Oh, yeah. It's coming through. We can see it.
Yeah. The funny thing is, in the shotgun that she hands him, they're on like one of those drop ships or whatever those things are. It's brand new. So why would they paint it to be rusty? I don't know. But they decided to. So then when he's holding it in the water.
Oh, I think
under
that's
it-
like rust. That's what I was just thinking. I think it's like rusty water he's in, and I think that's what it is. It's coated with.
Yeah, it's really messy in the loop.
That's
down
meant
there,
to look
so.
like scum from the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Yeah.
So Tom Cruise may have held this.
Okay.
I feel like he's holding me now.
Yeah. You've got, like I
there
said,
we
you've
go.
got a certain glow about you when you're holding that shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm glad you finally got that stuff. That's too long to wait.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little ridiculous.
I know. I was getting antsy
Those
waiting
two
for my
things-
thing.
Those two things were in that box.
Yes.
That's a
yes.
big freaking box for those 2 items.
Well, that box wasn't. It was maybe like 30 by 30 and only maybe
Oh, it
6
looks
inches
bigger than that. Okay.
deep. No,
Okay.
it wasn't. It
It looked
wasn't that
bigger
big.
than that.
You know, I've gotten. You remember the John Wick stuff was in this gigantic box with a ton of peanuts.
Yeah.
This was in. Interesting enough. So you know how like the foam in Pelican cases, it was sitting in foam in like that pick and pluck foam cut out.
Huh.
I don't know like why the amount of money they spend on packing materials. Then it's wrapped in this muslin material.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what my
Then
Death
it's
Star
wrapped
tile came
in-
wrapped in.
Yeah. Then it's wrapped in this thin foam stuff. Then it's wrapped in bubble wrap.
So not
This-
like hermetically sealed in a plastic bag to preserve Tom's DNA is what you're saying.
No, I've scraped some off though.
I will say this: they charge
They
a lot
do
for
a good job
shipping,
packing.
but they do a very good job packing your stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of effort. Anyway, so that's. I'm glad to have those things. Barry, what's in the box?
Hard for me to follow that up, but I'm going to go with a Hot Toys figure that I know you also got, Dave, but I think you probably haven't had a chance to even open yours yet.
That is correct.
It's the Obi-Wan Kenobi figure from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. And I know we talked maybe a month or two ago,
Oh, he
or
looks good.
maybe 3 months ago, I got the Darth Vader, the Anakin Darth Vader from that show.
As did I.
And I've been eagerly awaiting this one. 822 days from the time I ordered it till it arrived. So
It does not feel that long.
I know
it
it doesn't, but it was. This is another one of those
Time has changed.
amazingly detailed figures. This is one where they showed us 2 years ago what it was going to look like, and then they revised the head sculpt before they shipped it and actually made it even better. Comes with a ton of accessories, as they always do. And I know, Dave, you're not a big fan of display bases, but the display base for this thing is kind of insane.
Oh my god!
It's got the levitating rocks from that scene where he was like raising the rocks, and when you stand him on the stand, he kind of hides all of the.
Oh,
the
yeah,
rods,
that's
and
awesome.
it just looks like it's
That's
all
pretty
just
cool.
floating around him. So it's pretty cool stand. I have to say they did a good job. The box is gigantic because the stand is gigantic, but
I didn't even realize he came with. Did Darth Vader come with a bunch of stuff?
Darth Vader came with a pretty good sized base. That the footprint of the bases are about the same, but the Darth Vader one doesn't have all the height to it.
I haven't looked at that since I got it. It's in I left it in the closet here because waiting for this one to come for me to figure out where I'm putting.
Yeah,
it.
I've got them displayed. Finally, I did a lot of reworking of my display case to get them together because I had them no space for Obi-Wan and Vader was in a different case, and I moved a lot of things around so that I could display them together, and they look great together.
Yeah, I've got
The head
bottom
sculpt, and
of
I don't know
the
if you can
case
see it
over there.
They've got a lot of like wispy little hairs and stuff on the side of his head. That
Oh, really?
They
That's
had
cool.
all these little things spaced in between the hairs to keep them from getting damaged during
So
shipping.
they don't break.
I didn't even realize
that's
it
cool.
until I took it out tonight in preparation for the show. I had missed 4 of them in his hair. They were still stuck in there. But yeah,
That's
it's a
funny.
great looking figure. Really, really good. So very happy with that.
Cool. Okie dokie, that's what's in the box. I have a last thought. Barry's birthday's in 2 days. Happy birthday, Barry.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Send your gifts to P.O. Box 1701,
Yeah.
Long Island, New York.
Yeah, we probably won't be celebrating too much this year, but it's nice to.
Yeah.
Our wedding anniversary was last week too, and we didn't a lot going on around here too. So,
Too bad. Exactly, I hear you.
but age, it's just a number. So, yeah,
yeah, it is
Exactly.
a number, especially as we get older.
And those of us who have a higher number say that even more. So
Exactly.
Yep.
But so next week something completely different.
next week is episode 550. Not that it's
It
that
is
significant of a
550.
number.
We can't keep celebrating everything.
I don't want to celebrate.
I think we need 5 people for 550. I'm just saying.
Maybe
We might.
do.
We might need that.
We could do that. We can hear from Brian about the latest William Shatner Star Trek
he was
tour
just there
appearance.
this past weekend.
He was just there. Yeah, so he's getting around. So we'll figure something out for that. Oh, we have plans. We have such solid, rock solid plans.
Elaborate
for next
plans, yes.
Yeah. All the
Elaborate
best
plans.
people.
Exactly. They're working on it right now. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.